on time, so everybody can have a Coke and a smile and sit down, and we'll get our meet and greet session going.
Oh, I know, but that's nice.
Get your seat, Casey.
My coat.
Yes, sir.
I've got a spot.
We got plenty to do this evening, so we'll try to stay on schedule.
Is that on?
Okay.
I guess so.
Besides that way, I gotta use my gavel and feel important when I.
I know.
I was feeling that for you.
One of these days, I'm gonna get a passing kind of judgment or something. All right. Wes, who's gonna start?
Well, we have Representative Owen and Senator Trent. Kind of envision this being fairly informal. The representative kindly agreed to come in and meet you all. So if it'd be an opportunity if you have questions for him, or he can give us an update on state activities, and there'll be an opportunity to kind of bring the two groups together for a little bit.
Fantastic.
You want to start on?
Well, in my understanding, Curtis Trent, nice to see everybody. If you, and see most of you, there's a few of you I've met for the first time, so really appreciate the opportunity to be here. I really want this to be an opportunity for you to ask me questions if you have any. Otherwise, I mean, I can always talk about, you know, what's gonna come up in session, sort of some of the things that we hope will happen, maybe some things we hope won't happen. It's usually a longer list. But no, really just want to be a resource to the community and be available to you know, do whatever you know, is going to facilitate and make things better for you all here.
Well, I know you and I have had a one-on-one conversation, so you've heard from me.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody else that have inquiring minds.
Now's your opportunity, guys.
Now's the time to ask.
And if anybody doesn't have my cell number, make sure you get it from me. So if you're just shy and you don't want to ask here, you can just call me and ask there. So, or if you ever want to,
These are elected
call or text
representatives,
at any
they're
time
not
in the
shy.
future. You know, when business starts happening in Jeff City, I still want to be able to hear from you. So.
No. One thing I get from people around in my area is, what are we doing to legislate for money for our water sewer upgrades? So that's a big one.
Well,
Want to start?
since, you know, I kind of got started on that with Wes last year, it has been disappointing at this point. We've approached both Department of Economic Development and Department of Natural Resources, and both of them kind of indicated we don't fit within their metrics. So, and I'm not really totally sure I understand their metrics. Wes, do you feel like you have a better sense of that than I do? But
Well, I mean, I guess I understand the creation of the metrics, but maybe they may not work for us in this moment.
so, you know, we'll keep trying to work with the departments. I just think that there's concern about this being a tight budget year, but when you get into the budget process, and I'm on the budget committee in the House, we have what's called markup. And that's when you put the bills together, and you know, there might be an opportunity maybe to try and reach out and grab some money that's not being used currently. But again, that's, you know, that's not the best way to go. The best way is the departments work with us and help us find a funding mechanism to help you all out. But they just think you're just too rich here, you know.
That was gonna be my question. Isn't there a portion of the matrix that has to do with our, I assume, median income level in Willard?
Well, that's right, and they think you're pretty rich. They think, you know, that they need to be using their monies in communities that have a much lower median income.
So if we had a lower median income, then we might qualify for more funds.
Well, yeah, but I don't think you want to try and do that.
No, I'm just thinking hypothetically, so that when people ask these questions.
No, again, yeah, to
everybody.
members, this is good for you to know, I guess. Yes, that right now you just have too high of a median income for where they're willing to grant the funds. Now, maybe there's some ties to it from the feds or something. I never got into that great a detail with them, but they have said You just, your income level is just too high.
All right, Wes, we're sorry you're fired.
Yeah.
That's not gonna help the income level.
You're fired too, Mike.
I think as I understand it, to your point on the metrics, I think when the BIL went through, that was what put in a lot of these LMI metrics and the requirement for a certain percentage of the community to be LMI. So the MHI is part of it, but the LMI is the other part of it. You know, they're looking to distribute funds into areas that they traditionally haven't got the funding for some of the projects. So it creates a barrier to some of the other communities that also haven't had the funding for the projects, but now don't qualify on the metrics side. So it's a chicken and egg, I guess.
I mean, it's clearly the linchpin on the future of the community. You know, you're limited what you can do until we get the sewer issue solved. Not only the fact that we're getting the effluent into the system that doesn't need to be there, but also be able to have your own, your own plant so that you don't have the limitations that Springfield puts on you. So those are the two big issues, and I would think that we're dealing with to really allow for an increased population here.
Representative, I don't want to speak for you, but I do think you mentioned during markup there can be a process for directed appropriation. Historically, we've seen a fair amount of that in these kind of situations, so we don't think this is a bad candidate. Willard is a good candidate for that form of funding. The issue we are facing is the state is in a more limited budget environment, or they feel like they're in a more limited budget environment rolling into next year. That doesn't mean that Representative Owen and Senator Trent and I won't work toward that. It's a matter of if the budget will allow us to do what's been done in prior years in this kind of situation.
It's called under promise and over perform.
So is the state tightening their belt, is what you're telling me?
Well, they have to.
Okay.
Well, there's several.
That was a ridiculous, redundant. I am the one that
Well,
is.
fortunately, fortunately in our state, we can't deficit spend, which is a good thing.
Yes, it is.
But, well, I don't know, Kurt, you want to?
Yeah, well, I mean, to that point, I mean, we'll do everything we can to, get an appropriation if that is the way that we end up having to go. If there, are no way to shake loose any kind of grant or anything like that. But the state appropriations really depend on two things. One, getting it in there, which sometimes is the easy part, and then two, the money actually being available. Because the governor has to balance the budget at the end of the day, so if the legislature spends more money than actually comes in, the governor will withhold funds. And, then it's really a matter of his discretion where that happens at. So, that creates an incentive for the legislature to try to balance the budget as strictly as possible so that, that we know that what we're doing actually gets done. But, it's always a little bit of guesswork because you don't know how much money is going to come in and how the economy is going to perform as time goes on. We work off of the basis of revenue estimates. They have what they call a consensus revenue estimate that forms the basis for each year's budget. But, it still is going to be very much fact dependent on how much money actually comes in to the Treasury and then what other priorities are out there that folks are wanting to spend money on too. I think the only things in my district should be funded first. So, unfortunately not everybody agrees with that. And so that can have impact as well.
Anybody else have anything they want to ask us about?
I'll get your number later to further that conversation.
Good. Well, because we stand ready to help however we can. It's just the process. One other wild card is, see, we just eliminated capital gains. So what is that number? You hear estimates, and we won't know till April 15th what that number really is, which is right at, you're way down the line in the budgeting process. So this is a really unique year. All the federal money's dried up. There's no ARPA money left. So it'll be challenging, but I think we're up to the task. If we can find it, we'll try and deliver it.
The governor has talked about getting rid of,
Income tax?
no.
Personal income tax?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would that affect?
Well,
I'm happy to talk about that. So I will be the Senate sponsor for the income tax elimination proposal. The final details, which haven't been released yet, although I can tell you the sort of general outline here. Although, don't take any of it too much to heart, because we're gonna have a long legislative process, and I
Right.
imagine some of these details will change. But at a high level, the amount is, the total impact on state revenues is designed to be neutral. So as the income tax goes away in step down phase, probably 7 to 10 years, and this is the way that we've been doing up until this point, is as revenues grow, the amount of income tax slowly draws down over time. And so you've seen a reduction of about 1.5% or 1.25% on income tax over the last, 20 years or so probably, as a result of that step down process. And so now the goal is to take that all the way to zero in a series of steps over a period of time. Natural growth will be a part of how you make that balance occur. Controlling spending is another part of how you make that balance occur, and then replacement revenue. And the replacement revenue will most likely be an expansion of sales tax. Right now, sales tax is on a basket of goods. Further expanding that basket of goods and also applying sales tax to services. It will basically be required to get the transition done within the time period, that 7 to 10 year time period. And how those other two factors occur, the natural growth and spending control, how those two things occur will impact the speed at which it can happen, and also how much revenue loss has to be made up by the expanded sales tax base. The thing that we're most cautious about is, of course, maintain that revenue neutrality so that we're not actually causing a budgetary problem, and also keeping sales tax below surrounding states so that we don't start losing revenue to other surrounding areas, particularly because our population centers are St. Louis, so you want to pay particular attention to Illinois and also Kansas, because you've got a big population base in Kansas City. And then Arkansas is also fairly important, because we do have a significant amount of population here in southern Missouri that you could potentially see some kind of cross traffic. So those are sort of 3 states that we're really focusing on in terms of staying below their sales tax amounts. Now, the goal is to have as broad a base and as low a tax rate as possible, so that folks are able to make decisions based on the economics of their business and their family situation, and rather than making the decision based on how much taxes they're going to pay, which is often the case now with the income tax. And it's also to create more transparency in how much revenue is being collected. Right now, every good and service you buy has a big income tax bill baked into it, but you don't really see how much money is in there. So by extracting that money out and putting it on the point of final sale, on that point of final economic transaction, will create a lot more clarity into how much tax is actually being collected. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is that if we expand the base of sales tax, there's a good chance that we want to do that, for the sake of simplicity, for local governments as well. So your tax base would expand also, and then the question will be what happens with that money. Does that just accrue to the local municipality as found money, or is that used to fund other cuts, like to property taxes, or do you just require the local municipalities to draw down their levies so that they are also revenue neutral, or some combination thereof? I think that's a detail that is yet to be firmly worked out. But that's sort of the broad highlights of how this is intended to work, and the timeline over which it's intended to happen. Is that clear as mud? More questions? I'm happy to talk about it in depth. I've been working on this for a long time. The governor's been working on it a long time as well. And, you know, this is a policy which could have a real big impact on Missouri over the years ahead. And if you look at other states that don't have an income tax, their growth is significantly larger over time than our state's growth. Even if you exclude states like Florida and Texas that have, you know, warm beaches and, you know, lots of oil, even if you exclude them, you just look at states like Tennessee, the economic benefit is fairly significant. And all of our calculations are based on static growth. So like we're not anticipating any of the growth that we think will happen. And so if we're right and the growth happens as we expect it will, then this will be it'll be even more advantageous than what we've just described.
Doesn't appear anybody has anything else.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having us out.
Yeah,
Thank you.
very much appreciate it.
And please let us hear from you. We can help you.
All right.
Just your number.
I haven't heard, so I can give it to them.
Do you have it? Okay. Well, please, give it to anybody that wants it, and, I mean, that's true all the time, not just in this room, but anytime, so.
You might regret that.
I appreciate it.
I'll be on Commercial Street, in Springfield pretty soon.
At some point, I may physically be unable to answer the phone, until that happens.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Looks like we have about 5 minutes, if anybody needs to take a short break. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. Those who'd like to join us in the pledge up there, feel free to do so. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thank you. All right, I'll call a meeting to order. Rebecca, if you want.
Yes, Mayor. Mayor Smith.
Present.
Alder Villiers. Present. Alder Hill.
Present.
Alder Keene.
Present.
Alder Lancaster.
Present.
Alder Matheson. Present. Alder Wilson. Present. We have a quorum, Mayor.
Great, thank you. And Wes, on the agenda, I understand there's a difference in 9 Bravo.
Yes, so we, in all the filling to get rates and budgets and tidy ups done, we did not put the ordinances for the rates, so they added as 9 hotel, 9 Indigo. It's the first read only.
And those were second reads?
Those would be first reads only.
But you're adding them to the agenda?
Yes.
They weren't on the posted agenda?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. All right. So no add on that.
And I don't have those on mine, right? What's Wes
No,
was talking
I
about
did
now?
not change.
And then,
There was a language on 9 Bravo.
yeah, that one is a wording change from encumber to format the maintenance contract, and then a term to reduce it annually with each payment that's made.
Okay.
Instead of maintenance servicing, it's maintenance contract.
Still maintenance agreement, that's terminology, yeah. But no, we added the format the maintenance contract for just the Meadows now.
Does anybody have a hard time hearing us?
Yeah, these things.
I'm fixing it.
All right, I know it's normally just Wes, he's the quietest one here.
Yeah, I fixed that one first.
All right. All right, perfect. All right. So if everybody's good with that, that was the only one, 9 Bravo?
Number.
All right, everybody's good with that, can we get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda with the adjustments as stated.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Villiers.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keene.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson. Yes. Alder Wilson.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions on the consent agenda? If not,
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as written.
I second. I have a first and a second. Can I do all in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. The motion passes.
next section, section 4, citizen input. If there's anybody out there that would like to step forward, give your opinion or discussion on anything, feel free to step forward, just state your name and your address and tell us what's on your mind. Seeing no one, I'll close that section.
Would you like me to read our meeting opinions?
Yes. You want to explain that situation just because it's not something that's normal or that's usual?
Yes, we had a citizen who had some concerns. They wanted to share about the flock cameras and asked that I read that. So it's not skipping that very easily.
Unless you have a special provision that requires reading of it, and you've passed it out to everyone, you don't have to read it unless.
If you have it, I'd like you to go ahead and read it just for the record.
Okay,
And for the sake of openness,
okay, I will do that.
if you can,
Yeah, I'm just having trouble opening it, so.
God bless technology.
Okay, I was able to open it. Brendan McKinney said, I object to the city proceeding with a vote on the flock safety ALPR system without first releasing the public records I requested. Excuse me. The city has delayed those records, attempted to bill me for them after the delay, and is now attempting to vote before the public can review what data is actually collected, how long it is retained, and what agencies it is shared with. Flock's platform uses a multi-agency handshake model, which allows other enforcement entities to pull plate and metadata out of our system based on the honor system. Without disclosure, this community has no way to verify whether our data remains inside or leaves this jurisdiction entirely. I request the board delay any vote on this system until the public records are released and residents have a fair opportunity to evaluate them. This email is sent prior to the board's vote tonight. I am reserving the record that this objection was submitted prior to any vote being taken. And then the proposed ALPR guardrails, scans that do not match an active hot list are automatically purged within 24 hours. Hits may only be retained as part of a specific active case file. No outside agency access unless a warrant or court order exists or a life-saving emergency is certified and recommended by the chief. No fishing, no ice, no dragnet lookups. Complete audit log of every search, agency user time reason code, quarter summary posted publicly, multi-factor login required for every query, absolutely no use for generalized surveillance or investigative phishing. These guardrails protect legitimate policing while preventing mission creep and silent cross-jurisdiction queries. Sincerely, Brendan McKinney. Would you like to mention your meeting with him?
Well, we did schedule a meeting, but he had a, I guess a deployment or something came up that he had to focus on, but at that point, he told me he felt heard, and the policy he felt was a good step to covering a lot of his concerns, so we did reach out to him to see if he wanted to read that, and he did still want it read on the record, which is why we're reading it tonight. But I think a lot of that was covered in our policy, and a lot of that's covered in procedure. Everything's audited. We don't get a choice on the deletes in the system. They hard delete at 30 days. If we want them, we better keep them by then, otherwise they're gone. So I think we've covered a lot of that stuff. He was only one of two really that had concerns that they felt enough to bring them to us, but he was the one who was most concerned. And I think we alleviated that, or at least that was how we left it. I haven't heard from them since.
So he was satisfied after your meeting?
That was his words. Yeah, he said he felt heard, and he seemed to think it was going in the right direction. So I guess we'll see if we hear from him later and he feels that changes.
And I think he's in my district. I believe I also heard from him that he appreciated feeling heard that we did postpone and wait to put that through. Because I think we originally were going to do a first and a second, and we opted to do first and then, yeah, so.
All right, great, thank you. All right, next section, Ryan, discuss your efforts and achievements.
Very good. What a great lead up to have Representative Owen and Senator Trent here tonight. That worked out great. So all flesh out a little, some of what they're talking about. I know you guys have a packed agenda tonight. I have a very long slide presentation I can give you sometimes, but we are given the very abbreviated version today. This is the second time I have met with you all, so I thought I'd kind of lead off with a little information to refresh on who we are and what we do. And we can go ahead and flip to the next slide. So, Honda Booth Government Relations, that's my firm, and I'll show you who the players are in that firm here in a moment. But this is the work we do. So we do direct advocacy work, we do appropriations work, which was, I know, the big impetus for you guys to seek us out, and then strategic communications, media relations, and then compliance management, mostly connected to political contributions. So anything that crosses that broad spectrum of things, we are happy to assist the city of Willard with. So we can go to the next slide here. So this is our team. Jay Hahn and I are partners of the firm, and then we're supported by Aaron, who is in the halls of the Capitol all the time. And then Jessica is, if you called our office, you likely talk to Jessica. Jessica keeps us all headed in the right direction and takes care of the finance and compliance issues in the office. And then Andy Foley is a budget specialist. So he advises solely on budget issues. He sits through voluminous hearings in the budget committees in the House and the Senate to identify opportunities and figure out what's going on. In the budget, we talk to Andy a lot this time of year. So we can go on to the next slide here. So let me give you a little overview on the policy side, and then we'll talk about the appropriation side. It'll help answer some of the questions, frankly, you guys were asking a few minutes ago. So first of all, the policy side. So bills filed last year, they filed over 2,600 bills, and they only passed 67 of them, but wait, there's more. You can't even really count 16 of those bills because they're constitutionally required to pass them. So really, they passed 51 bills last year. I'll cut to the end without moving quite yet, but I'll cut to the end to tell you what we're going to see is that over time we used to file less bills and pass more bills, and now we file a ton of bills. There's not 2,600 good ideas. We don't really want all those bills to pass, right? And we pass even less bills. So if we go to the next slide. So this is over time showing you how many bills passed. So it used to be 25 years ago, we'd pass over 200 bills. Well over 150 bills a year. Now, we had a phenomenally good year last year, passing 51 bills. If we go to the next slide, here's the average length of those bills. So you pass fewer bills, what happens is you end up passing longer bills. So the way we legislate has changed. So now, instead of like the after-school special that says I'm a bill, I go to a committee, I get a hearing, all that kind of stuff, there's one bill like that, and then we all try to pound all these ideas onto these bills through amendments. And so the result of that is the bills get much, much longer because there's amendments. Now, in my line of work, I'm agnostic on that, right? That may be the right way or the wrong way. I could share offline some of my own views on that, but regardless, it's just the way it works now. That creates opportunities to pass things. It also creates concerns because there's a process by which things we don't like can end up in those bills. So I spend a lot of time working on that. There were questions about the income tax proposals that are being worked on right now. What that tells me is we're likely to pass a tax bill this year, right? So we want to be thinking about, are there things we want to see changed in the topic of taxation in general? Because there could be a good vehicle to do some of that in. And then on the other side, are there things that really scare us in taxation? I know there's things that really scare us, right? There's been a lot of conversation about taxation of food. Well, that's a really troubling concept if they took away our ability to tax food. Not because we don't maybe agree philosophically with that, but it would create a real revenue, right? So those are the things, thinking through the policy bill, we'll be working on all those issues as the year goes on. So we can go to the next slide. Some hot topics for the coming year. I'm not going to spend a lot of time there. I could fill all kinds of time talking about every item on that list. Suffice it to say, the state is gonna spend a lot of times talking about its income statement this year. So they're gonna be talking a lot about tax policy. They're also gonna be talking a lot about budget, which is very interesting to us this year. We can go on to the next slide. So I have a few slides here to lay out the state's budget situation. So this will help answering the questions about why are they pulling back? Why are they belt tightening right now? So this is data showing where we are in terms of year over year budget activity, so revenue at the state level. So we are the good news. First of all, one thing of good news, then two pieces of bad news. So the good news is the state is on track to pretty well hit its revenue projections for the year, right? So actually, I don't have this month, the November data up there yet, but November they were up year to year 4.5% in revenue. And they projected to be up between 1.5% and 2%. So they were beating revenue projections at that point. That's very good news, right? So we're not looking at a situation where we're gonna get to the end of the year and they're gonna say revenue hasn't hit where we thought it would, so we have to not pay a bunch of bills or things like that. So revenue's in pretty good shape, but we go to the next slide. So this is a look at what's in the state's, basically their savings account, their revenues, or their reserves rather. So you can trace this out through the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, spending patterns changed, the federal government passed down a lot of stimulus funds. That created a situation where the state was sitting on a lot of money. So what do we do when the state is sitting on a lot of money? They come up with one-time project concepts to spend that money on. So that's where a lot of the conversations on budget issues right now say, well, we're not in the situation we were a couple of years ago. So that peaked, the state spent down a lot of that money. We're fine. I mean, we're not in bad shape at the state level. They haven't overspent things, but if you look at the unobligated reserve funds, we're back down to where it's kind of like under $1 billion. They're slowing down on their willingness to allocate funds to one-time projects. Doesn't mean they're not doing it. Doesn't mean it's not possible. It's just different than it was a couple of years ago. So we can go to the next slide. And then here's the one everybody's really looking at right now. So there's the NDIs are what we would call spending increases, new decision items we call them in the state's budget process. So for a lot of reasons and things outside of the state's control, you look at the bottom two lines there, Medicaid is gonna cost the state a lot more money. And then you look at K-12 foundation formula is gonna have an increase. It's unclear right now whether the governor is gonna go along with that increase or not, but definitely the Medicaid pieces are a little hard to escape. So revenue, the three-part message here is revenue at the state level is good. They have spent a big chunk of their reserve funds. And then there is about $1 billion in new decision items, new spending items that they feel like they're gonna need to fund in the coming year. That kind of paints the picture for the budget conversation. We can go to the next slide. So before I get into this, we have been having meetings. Wes and I have been having meetings. So we have talked to DNR. I think he has briefed you some on the status of the DNR meetings. There was just conversation about this as well. So DNR and Economic Development have funds that they utilize for wastewater sort of projects. The difficulty we're running into on those funds, it was anticipated, Wes and I knew this when we started embarking on this, is that they allocate some of those funds based on communities' income levels, and the income levels that they're looking at for Willard put us above their threshold. So that eliminates one of those options. The other, there are other funds out there. The difficulty becomes you have to spend those funds a certain way to qualify for the funding. So we're working through that right now. It's not a lost cause at DNR or Economic Development. Wes and I are trying to get creative to figure something out there. But the reality is we're in a place where we're going to be asking the legislature, the conversation that just happened, to help us identify funds through their budget process. Like I said, the budget's a little bit of a complicated scenario right now. Just talked to, Wes and I met with Representative Owen last week. We'll be meeting with Senator Trent as well. I just talked to him in the parking lot while they were leaving as well. And we'll be working on that process to work through the state's budget process to see if we can identify some funds at the state level. There's multiple things going on at the same time trying to solve this problem right now. Who are the people we'll be working with? So this is House leadership. You may recognize a face or a name up there. Representative Alex Riley is the speaker-elect. He's the majority floor leader, so it's good to have somebody from Southwest Missouri up there. If we go to the next slide, this is the committee we'll be working with as we're talking to them about the Willard community's infrastructure needs. You will see a lot of familiar faces up there. So Dirk Deaton is from a little ways away, but he's from McDonald County. And the vice chairman is Bishop Davidson, whose district runs just south of us here. On the right side over there, you look at the full membership of that committee, and you see right in about the middle of the red names, so the Republican names, our very own Bill Owen up there. So we're well represented on that committee. If we go to the next slide, we got some Senate names up here too. So this is leadership in the Senate. If you look off to the left, Representative Owen just mentioned this, that Senator Trent is currently the assistant majority floor leader. He is in his first term, is going to be running for re-election. We have great hopes for Senator Trent to continue to ascend the leadership ladder. We can go to the next slide. This is the Senate Appropriations Committee. So when I talked to you last time, the chairman was a different gentleman. So it was Senator Lincoln Huff, who was a Springfield guy, and we have worked with Senator Huff a lot. He has since that time been replaced by Senator Rusty Black, who is a retired school teacher. I've worked with him for a long time out of Northwest Missouri, a really, really good guy. We will miss having our hometown guy as the chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee, but I do feel confident that Senator Black is somebody we can work very well with. The new vice chairman is Senator Brad Hudson, who's out of the Taney County area. So he is somebody very local to us and somebody we can work with. And if you look at the right side of that list, you see the names of the folks that are on that committee. So this is the group of people that Wes and I will be targeting as we move into legislative session. Legislative session begins in the second week of January. The governor has already announced he will be making his budget recommendations that will not include, it never includes kind of these kind of specific projects. So we'll have to work through the legislature to get those kind of projects included. The governor will be making his budget recommendations January 13th, he announced today. So happy to answer any questions.
Those meetings that you have with Wes, are we allowed to be in those meetings?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Unless you have a quorum, then you gotta notify.
Got to work around that. And if there's specific meetings, I would say too, if you, particularly we get into legislative session, if you want to come to Jeff City and meet with some legislators, like, let Wes know, we'll line it up. I think that's great.
That's the piece that I want to make sure I can go to as many of those as possible, because it shows us serious. You know, if we just send them Ryan, I mean, maybe it's successful, but if we start showing up, now they know that we've got some skin in the game too. So yeah, if there's no legal aspect to it other than making sure we don't have too many of you, I think that'd be.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Just find us some money.
Yeah.
Working on it, working on it.
It's frustrating to see other jurisdictions getting millions of dollars for bridges and
Yep.
sidewalks and
And then be told that we have
And that we-
gone too high.
yeah, that we and Willard apparently make too much money to qualify for funds, so
Yep,
turn over the rocks and find
Yep.
some money.
yep. If I could get in a time machine and take us back to 2 years ago to make the ask then, it would have been a different environment then. But I remain confident, I remain optimistic. We just talked to a couple gentlemen who are gonna do everything in their power to try to make sure that our needs are met. They were fully briefed, they've been fully briefed. They were just talking about it in the parking lot with me about, they well understand the situation that the city of Willard is in, and that economic development, that the development of land in the city can't happen without a sewer investment, so.
All right, well, thank you.
Good, thank you guys.
All right, next we got the project manager report.
Guys,
Steve?
On construction, there's an ordinance on the agenda later tonight
authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement with the Young's General Contracting for the 94 lift station force main. And then Young's General Contracting will be issued a notice to proceed in January 26. On the Meadows project, bid opening was November 21. J.D. Wallace was the low bidder, recommended by Albert Martin. And the bid tabulation is attached in your packet. But the base bid for Wallace was $1,680,000. The board needs to make a decision, or at least by consensus, and Wes will address this later on this evening, regarding the boring versus open cut of the Farm Road 106-103 intersection. J.D. Wallace estimates that if that's open cut and they have that intersection closed for up to 2 weeks, the way to avoid that is to pour a casing under that intersection. But that additional cost is $1,680,000. So with the budgetary restraints that you're looking at here for the city, it might be wise to forego the boring, open cut it, and give the public notice before that happens, and advise the post office, emergency responders, and people like that. There's a resolution on the agenda tonight authorizing the mayor to sign a work authorization amendment number 1 with Albert Martin Associates for professional engineering services. Again, that's addressed later on. As a result of additional design costs as outlined in the amendment. If we move forward with both Meadows and 94, we have short-term bank financing for $2.134 million for the 94 project. We can take some of our cash on hand and support the beginning of the Meadows project. So we're probably looking at then a need for a COP of $4 million about the 1st of April to pay off O'Bannon's $2.134 million debt, and then to fund Meadows project. So again, that's something we can address in general consensus later this evening. With that, we'll get to the ordinances and resolutions of the council. Any questions we've got to ask?
Repeat the number for the boring versus the open cut.
$1,680,000.
1.6 mil. Okay.
And is this on the south side of where 106 hits or the north side?
It's going to be diagonal from southwest to northeast.
Okay.
So there's no squeaking through, so to speak.
And then for comparison, can you just tell the board what the price would be without the boring?
Yeah.
Because you go 1.68 with bore.
The 1.68 base bid does not include the board.
Okay.
So it's a savings of 1.6 million.
Pardon?
If we don't bore, it's a savings of
It
1.6.
means you will not have to come up with another $140,000. Is the cost of the bore.
The bore is
That's quoted. The cost of the bore is $140,000.
Okay.
The base bid of 1.6 million does not include that.
Okay. Thank you.
If we elect to do it, we'll have to add the 140 to the 1.6 million.
Okay. You guys have any questions? Joyce, did you have something, or? All right, next, I'm sorry. That's only 2 minutes away, but next item on the agenda is the public hearing for sewer and water rates to begin at 6:30 p.m. And since we're just a few minutes short, we're gonna take a quick water break and reconvene in a couple minutes so we can start at the advertised time. public hearing, which I'm gonna open now regarding water and sewer rates, which will begin with a presentation by Gina Mao, and then afterwards, the board's gonna be able to ask any questions, and then we're gonna open it up to the public to give us any input they may or may not have, so. Go ahead, Gina.
Okay. We keep hearing how the water rates have changed over the years and how expensive it is becoming. When I started driving, gas was 97 cents and now it's almost $2.50. We can all name many examples like this, such as milk, bread, and eggs. Citizens cannot expect water to stay the same cost since everything else has gone up as well. The history is that in 2013, a decision was made to lower the sewer rates by 20%. We're not sure why, but it doesn't matter. We have to live with it. In 2018, 2019, and 2022, there were 5% increases. This still has us down 5% from 2013. In 2024, there was a 10% increase. This brought us back to the 2013 rates when we could go to Walmart and get a gallon of milk for $1, plus 5%. In 2025, we had a larger increase to try to catch up with inflation, and now here in 2026, we are in a situation where we are looking at a 15% increase to catch up with the vitally important repairs and maintenance that have not been done in the last 12 years. With the raise last year, we completed many repairs, and this is a list. Just want you to notice that on this list, there are 3 items that have red by them, where the cost was exceeded the quoted amounts, and we weren't able to do them with the 2025 budget. Willard has also grown over these past 12 plus years, and our water and sewer are at capacity. There have been many citizens going to Facebook wanting repairs and water filtered. They also go to Facebook wanting new businesses such as Seven Brews, Steakhouse, Walmart, or even Andy's. We cannot grow the city unless we correct the capacity problems. I have been working on the 2026 budget, and with the 15% proposed increase, we have planned to get the water tank maintenance started, beginning with the Meadows Tower. The 94 lift station and force main are also in this budget, and connecting the Meadows Lagoon to the airport lift station. We contacted the engineers, and this is a comprehensive list of water projects that need to be done, totaling $27 million. And here's a list of the sewer items needing done, and the cost is $29 million. This is a very rough estimate based on the fact that some of these are 2022 estimated amounts. This total is $56 million of items that we need done, but can't have done right now. There's also a map attached. It's hard to read on the screen, but the reason it's here is just to show that it's not one part of the city that needs repairs, it's the whole city. It's not just certain areas. It has been suggested that we get a bond and get some of these big projects done. A bond would require the work of everyone in this room, board members, employees, and concerned citizens to get the bond passed. If the bond did get passed, then the rate increases needed in the future could be 3 or 4%. I can't predict the future, but the board nor us employees want to raise rates every year. If we can get some of these projects that are budgeted done, these businesses will come to Willard. It will also bring more citizens to share in the cost of the repairs and maintenance and any rate increases. This will help keep rates down for everybody. Springfield did a sewer increase in 2025, a water increase in October 2025, and another sewage increase scheduled for July 2027. I've attached this increase schedule for informational purposes. I have a bill from Springfield for 3,740 gallons of water. The cost is $41.58. 4,000 gallons in Willard is $32.90 right now on our current rate. With the 15% proposed increase, it would be $37.84, which is still cheaper than Springfield. Republic is $34.46, and in 2026, the same 4,000 gallons will be $61.29, and in 2027, theirs will go up to $76.51. Sewer in Springfield for the same 4,000 gallons is $46.22. Theirs will always be cheaper than the surrounding communities because they don't have to send their sewage to other cities. They make money off cities like Willard who send theirs to the Springfield treatment plant. In Willard, sewer for 4,000 gallons is $69.24. With the increase, it would be $79.62. Republic right now is $78.73. And with an increase in 2026, it'll be $91.33 and $105.04 in 2027. Wes our city administrator has created a rate calculator on the website to let all citizens be able to put in their water usage and see the current and proposed rates. This is on the city website under utilities and water rate analysis. I have a graph on here that shows the neighboring communities. As you can see, Republic's in the mid, or Republic's way up high, where I just made the point that it is high, but this is before any of those increases. And they're gonna double. Willard is right in the middle. I used a Missouri rate analysis to graph projected revenue over the next 5 years using the current and the new rate. 2026, it is just barely making it, and we will discuss 2027 in future years. The next graph is projected fund balance over the next 5 years. On the 15%, this chart does show us not having any reserves after 2027. This is not what we want to happen. We put our money in our personal savings account to cover emergencies like tires or water heater bursting. We don't pay our monthly bills out, or at least we should be. This will not help if we have an emergency. Branson and Springfield both had water main breaks lately, and last spring we had a lagoon overflowing and paid over $100,000 to have pump trucks come and pump it so it wasn't flooding the streets. Over the weekend, there was also a break on the 94 sewage pipes. Most of the projects that we discussed covering in 2026 are contractual and grant specific, meaning we cannot redirect funds in an emergency basis. This rate increase is vital. Had some repairs and maintenance been done over the last 40 years on the 40-year-old equipment we have, when cost was cheaper, we might not be in the situation we are in. But the truth is, we cannot change the past and we need to grow and learn from it. Does anybody have any questions?
No questions by the board? Okay, thank you, Gina.
You're welcome.
All right, I'll open up to the public now as part of the public hearing regarding the rates. If there's anybody that would like to step forward, sir, come on forward and tell us your name and your address and give us your thoughts.
My name's Guy Weiland, and I live at 3787 North State Highway AB. Question one, we live in Willard. I don't care about Springfield, CU, Republic, Walnut Grove, you know. So are we gonna do this every year, rates? I mean, we were here, what, 14 months ago, 12 months ago? If it's gonna go up every year, I'm gonna drill a well. You know, the reason I bought out in Willard was because of the metals water. And you guys incorporated that, or bought it because you didn't want to drill a well. I don't know. So I'm caught between a rock and a hard place because we can't vote for you people, or not vote for you. See my point?
Absolutely.
So whatever you do, we don't have any control. That lives out on the Meadows, water department. So anyway, that's my 2 cents worth.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Marilyn Alray, 6853 West Cactus Street, Springfield. I'm interested in the bond theory and why you might be for it, and certainly why you are not in agreement for that.
I think I'll speak to that. I feel like all of us are very much in favor of the bond. Going for a bond, we're still going to end up with increased rates because we can't, a lot of people are, like if Springfield was to go for a bond, they can increase property taxes. We can't do that because most of our, well not most, a majority of our, not even a majority, sorry, wrong wording.
A portion.
A portion, there we go, thank you. A portion of our customers don't pay property taxes to Willard. So we can't recoup the cost of the bond unless we raise the rates. The other thing with the bond, it's not something that we can do immediately. We have to plan for it because it does have to go on the ballot. So we can't just jump in right now and say, this is what we're gonna do, because as you can see from the list, we still have very dire needs with our infrastructure that we have to be able to move forward with in the meantime while we wait to see if a bond is able to be passed by the community and the voters, as well as then moving forward with it and getting it in place.
Okay.
Is that bond just gonna be?
Guy, hold on a minute, we're gonna address Marilyn's question first, and then we'll come back.
So the bond is not off the table. I understand it takes a process for that to happen, but I think those of us that are not in the city limits and don't have a real say about voting, I think we'd like some positive guarantee that you're not going to just trash that bond idea that it.
No, that's very much on the
When the
table.
I
time's
think
right,
that
it will
all of
happen.
us are very confidently for moving towards that direction. I
Okay.
mean, that, we've all talked about it in our last water board and Board of Aldermen work study. We all sat here and discussed the pros and the cons,
Okay.
and I really feel like nobody was against it.
Okay.
We all really like it. If we could do it tomorrow, we would. But it takes so much time and getting it on the ballot.
Sure.
And then once it gets approved on the ballot, let's be positive here, then to be able to have it move forward to the stage where we actually have the funding in place.
Okay, thank you.
In addition to that, we have some of the members from the water board here in attendance tonight, and just on the record, I wanted to thank them publicly for their volunteerism, their time, and their service. And in addition to the COPs and bonds, the members of the water board are going to put us into contact with individual or individuals that are hopefully instrumental in obtaining grants for the types of things that we need. And we're looking at a meeting with that entity hopefully in January. So we are exploring every possible avenue, and the board has given us a good amount of expertise in that area. So we're open to anything and everything. Go ahead, Guy.
So only the people in Willard can vote for this bond, correct?
Yes.
City limits?
Yeah, that was well, you and I can talk about that after the meeting if you want. I mean, that's an unfortunate, I wasn't around, nobody here on the board was around when the deal got made to bring Meadows into the city. We discussed that at the last public hearing ad nauseum, I know. But yeah, it did put a twist in representation because you have a completely valid point about not having representation on the board.
Is there any way you could just have the bond, people that live in the Willard School District vote for the bond? Did you check into that instead of just the city limits?
The infrastructure is owned by the city as an entity, and so the school district does not own that which the bond would cover, which is the infrastructure for the water and sewer. So you have a different entity, which is the school district, but the school district has no ability to bond for water.
You missed my point. My point is, the people that
I see what you're saying.
that vote or that pay their taxes to Willard School, why couldn't you incorporate that instead of just the city limits.
The legal restrictions on bonding and actions by a city versus actions by a school district are clearly delineated. They have clear requirements of what they can do and what they can't do. And
No,
so you have to be part of the
Correct me
city.
if I'm wrong, Guy, I think what Guy is saying is there a way to create a bond voted on by the people affected by the water and sewer system? Is that right, Guy?
Correct.
Those who live in the water
Anybody,
district.
anybody that's on the water.
Anybody's on, it's
So
a way
like
for
a
only
water
them to vote
district?
for a bond.
If they annex into the city, yes.
And for those of you who don't know, she's our attorney, so in case you're wondering who Holly is, that's who she is.
If your water and sewer system was all incorporated in a district, where it was at one district, such as a whole grid of 72 miles or whatever, and that encompassed your water and sewer, then you could put that bond out there in front of everybody.
Yes.
But in this case, where you guys at the city are bound to your boundary lines, even though you have utilities outside running water and some sewer outside, then that leaves it to where it incorporates up to the city, if I'm not mistaken.
Can we look into creating by ordinance a water sewer district?
You would have to sell then to that entity, your infrastructure, and
Right.
you'd have to fund it.
That's what I'm saying though, but could we as the board work on creating a water sewer district, kind of like we have a fire district, that is not so much the city, but it is the water sewer customers that is a district, as opposed to city versus out of city?
Didn't we have somebody present on that if we did, then that sale has to go to high bidder, whether it's the new city water district or Liberty Utilities or whomever, I thought
Okay,
was
we don't-
the presentation.
There's a lot of ramifications.
There's a whole lot of steps to get to that place,
Okay.
because that entity has to be created lawfully and have an area, and that entity, you're talking about making something that has nothing, and you as a city would have to sell to them your infrastructure, and so nothing into nothing would be a whole lot of bonding that would be substantially more than a bond within your area.
We created the water advisory board to give folks out of town voice,
Right.
and I would probably encourage them to either consider voluntary annexation if they want to be able to vote, if that's a thing, or to go and speak to their water advisory board and share their thoughts and concerns. That was exactly why it's created.
Right, I knew that that's why we did that, I just, with the purpose of like going after a bond and the voting of it, that's,
Yeah, annexation would be the only way to kind of scoop them in, and then that would give them a vote.
okay.
Yes, ma'am, Marilyn?
I have one more question about the bond and then I'll leave it alone. The bond is all approved and everybody's gonna vote on it. Is there a percentage that it has to win by? Or if it's one vote over the noes, the yeses are one vote over the noes? Does that make it okay?
There was a percentage that we heard the other day, but I don't remember what that number was off the top
I
of my
think it's
head.
more than
It's a
simple.
majority,
Yeah.
it's not a,
Percentage?
it's not a 51-49. There's a 2/3 or whatever majority it was.
2/3?
Potentially, yes.
Depends on the
I was
bond.
gonna say, it depended on the different type of bonds, because he talked about the different options, depending on what, if we were to go that route, which one we went with.
Okay, my other question, I was at the last meeting that the advisory board and the alderman held. I think it might have been Casey that asked, instead of the 15% or whatever you decide on, for water increase as well as sewer increase. Was there some way you could combine those two? I know they're two separate entities, but could they be combined somehow and just charge one rate? Is that clear?
The city voted, I can't remember exactly when, but the city did vote to essentially run them as a combined waterworks operation, but you have some things that are unique to the sewer side, and some things that are unique to the water side, and then some things that are in common like the staff. don't necessarily think it makes a change to the situation. The water side is actually what makes the sewer more affordable, because our water is pretty competitive. I don't know if it would necessarily change the outcome, and then it's gonna make it likely harder for the public to see. If you're paying $110, say, for your bill, how do I know how much is my water? How do I know which is my sewer? I don't know if it necessarily helps the transparency.
I
And it's
just
still
know
the same outcome.
that a 15% increase on both those are gonna leave a really bad taste in some people's mouth. Just food for thought. Thank you.
Thank you.
An April and August election require the least majority, which is 2/3. The others require a 4/7 majority, depending on whether it's even or odd years. And so the lowest being the 2/3 majority are in odd number years for August elections, and November for odd number years.
So 27.
Otherwise, it's 4/7. I'm sorry, otherwise it's 2/3.
Anybody else? Not seeing any further comments, then I will close the hearing on the.
Before you close the hearing, I know we did not notice regarding the ordinance, which will be at the next meeting, but if anyone has any discussions about the proposed ordinance, you could discuss that because it is regarding the rate.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
So, on this bond, is it gonna you're gonna try to have it on the April?
We haven't gotten that far down the road yet. We're discussing the bond as an option, and we haven't even gotten that far down the road as far as.
It will make it on the 2026, it won't have to be on 2027.
Say that again?
It would have to be on 2027, we don't have enough time to get it done in 2026.
And before I close the session, one more thing. I completely understand both of your positions and the awkwardness of not having the ability to vote us into these seats or out of these seats. Completely understandable, but I know that everyone sitting here would be happy to listen to anybody. So if you live in the Meadows and you want, all of our phone numbers are posted online, if you want to come in here and have face-to-face conversations.
What if you don't have the internet?
I'll give you my card.
Swing them by City Hall.
That'd be great.
Or you can come by here. I'll write my number down on a piece of paper, however you'd like it. And we can come in and we
I'll
can
take
meet.
your card.
And so don't feel like you don't have anyone to talk to, because all of us up here, that's why we're here, is because we want to help people and we want to look after Woodward. So just keep that in mind. Having said that, I'll close the section. All right. You got what, resolution?
You want to read that, Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
A resolution of the Board of Alders of the City of Willard, Missouri, adopting an amendment to the 2025 budget.
Thank you very much.
So I've given you a copy of the amended 2025 budget. It's rough, I know. I've been working on it for the last 2 weeks. General fund revenues is $2,874,000. Total expenses, $3,107,000. For water sewer fund, revenues are $4,230,000. And for expenses, it's $4,345,000. Revenue for parks is $1,587,000. Total expenses is $1,759,000. We know this is not where we really want to be, but the truth is this is where we're at right now, and we're just asking that you approve the amended budget. If you have questions, I can try to answer them. I promise I will do my best.
Everybody's looking at Joyce.
Yeah.
No pressure.
No pressure, Joyce.
Joyce knows what it is, so.
So I would just say that that's a grand total of 518,000 negative for the year. You've all heard me say a few times that having reserves transfer calculated as revenue did not make any sense, because if you take it from your savings account, it is not revenue. I did look, and I believe the budget for this year, which I don't think any of us understood, including myself, because I am digging, learning to dig. The budgeted amount that was planned to come out of reserves was $770,000 potentially, so yay, Wes, on 200,000 less, but, we'll talk about 26 here in a minute. It's, yeah. So, I mean, again, it's not a good number. And I think we need to follow the footsteps of our great state of Missouri and tighten our belts, starting in 2026. Actually, starting in December of 2025.
I think Wes is probably gonna talk about that when he
Yes.
gets to his remarks, because I know we
Yeah.
talked about it this morning, about some of the things that he's doing to really put the brakes on spending as far as positions and whatnot, but I'll let speak to that, Wes speak to that when he gets to it. About tightening our belts.
There's been conversations.
Sure, good. All right, I'm glad.
So I guess we have nothing to do but make a motion to accept the amended budget, which I will vote yes on that one. Or I'll make a motion that we accept the amended budget, because that's where we're at.
To pass the resolution.
resolution.
Pass a resolution.
I have a first and a second. Alder Belier? Yes. Alder Hill?
Yes.
Alder Keen?
Yes.
Alder Lancaster?
Yes.
Alder Matheson?
Yes.
Alder Wilson?
Yes.
This resolution is passed. Thank you. A resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Willard, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to sign amendment number 1 to work authorization number AMA OC WILL 23002 to the agreement for professional engineering services with Alder Martin and Associates on behalf of the City of Willard.
Okay, in your packet is the resolution that Rebecca referred to, and as an attachment, the amended work authorization for Alger Martin. In the first page of the work authorization, it talks about the reason for additional design costs. Issues with the Army Corps of Engineers, U.S. Fish and Wildlife. Design was on preliminary negotiation with property owners. We had some issues of getting final attainment of those easements. And the third one was the increase in size from 12-inch to 15-inch on the gravity sewer main. What this does is it authorizes the mayor to amend the work agreement, which has previously been passed as enumerated in the first part of the resolution, to increase Alger Martin's design costs by $58,000. They're bidding a construction estimate, and on-site representation will remain the same. You have to answer any questions you may ask.
So the design costs were increasing 58,000, is that what I caught?
Yes.
Was there a surprise, or
No,
they had a rock they didn't
that
know?
kind of snuck up on us over a period of time as we entered into issues with Army Corps, Fish and Wildlife, one easement property owner that was the last holdout. And it caused us to have to change our design from what we initially envisioned. And that added the cost of design, had the cost of $58,000 additional dollars.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Anybody want to make a motion regarding the resolution?
Just for
There is a
clarity,
question.
on the amendment, it is dated, at the very beginning of it, hereby mutually agreed by the parties, hereinafter referred to as engineer dated November 13th, 2023. Is that supposed to be 2025 or should it be 2023?
2023 is the date of the original amendment, or pardon me, the original work authorization.
Okay,
So we're amending that authorization that was established in November.
I just wanted to make sure for
Yeah.
clarity purpose.
That looks like a typo, but really it's a recitation. of
With
fact.
where we are in the current year and when it was done, then it just had to make sure. Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution as read.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Billier.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keane.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Alder Wilson.
Yes.
All right, next section is going to be some ordinances. We'll start with 9 alpha. Go ahead, Rebecca.
An ordinance authorizing and providing a contract between the City of Willard, Missouri and the Empire District Electric Company for electric service and equipment to light the city streets, alleys, public ways, parks, and other properties and public places. Second reading.
So this is from October 27th, I think was when we did the first read, and then we had part of the contract was we would sit on it for 30 days for if anybody in the public wanted to inspect the document. 12/8 today became the second read, earliest date we do. So nothing has changed, remains the same. This allows us to continue to get the discounted municipal rates for our street lights.
I'll make a motion that we approve the ordinance as read.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Billier.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keane.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Alder Wilson.
Yes.
This ordinance passes. Thank you.
And then 9 Bravo was the one we had to change on.
Yes.
An ordinance of the Board of Alders of the City of Willard, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Viking Industrial Painting for maintenance servicing of the Meadows Water Tower pursuant to 43270 RSMO. This is a second read.
So in this one, we've added a section 2 and a section 3. Section 2 encompasses the full amount of the maintenance agreement, which was at, I think 608 is what we put in there. And that will reduce by the amount of the annual payment each year for the agreement until it's zeroed out. And then section 3 adds a terminology that if the city should decide to terminate the agreement early, whatever the remaining balance of the encumbrances will be due to Viking Industrial Painting. That was the only way to satisfy them, because they're going to be upside down on this Meadows Tower, and we kind of want them to get it done as quickly as possible. So adding that language satisfied them that they wouldn't have necessarily an appropriate risk for them to carry that.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance as read. Second.
Because there's
As
a
amended.
change, yeah,
Yeah, as
you
amended.
first have to move to amend as recommended, and then a second, then take a vote, and then you get through.
Make a motion to amend the ordinance as discussed.
Written.
Written.
All right, so I have a first and a second to amend the ordinance. Alder Billier.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keane.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson. Yes. Alder Wilson.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the amended ordinance as read. Second.
I have a first and a second to approve this ordinance in the second read. Alder Billier.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keane. Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Alder Wilson.
Yes.
This ordinance has been approved with the changes. Thank you. An ordinance of the Board of Alders of the City of Willard, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Viking Industrial Painting for maintenance servicing of the school water tower pursuant to 43270 RSMO, second read.
There are no changes on this one. Meadows one was the only one that was changed, so these two are exactly as discussed last time.
I'll make a motion that we approve the ordinance as read.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Billier.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keane.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Alder Wilson.
Yes.
This ordinance has been approved. It's passed. passed on the second read. Thank you. An ordinance of the Board of Alders of the City of Willard, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Viking Industrial Painting for maintenance servicing of the downtown water tower pursuant to 432.70 RSMO, second read.
Just for the record on this, no changes on this side, it's exactly as we read before.
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance as read.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Villiers.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keane.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Alder Wilson. This ordinance is passed. Thank you. An ordinance of the Board of Alders of the City of Willard, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to extend the agreement with Premier Pyrotechnics. This would be a first and second read.
So are we adding, we currently are in contract with them?
We are currently in contract. We're in year 2 of a 3-year contract. 26 will be the second year, 27 will be the third year of that contract. If we decide to extend it to 28 and have 28 be a contract, they add additional 5%, which I think there was some confusion of the language because of the way that they reflect that additional product on the bill. So basically they bill you out for the whole amount of product that they will be shipping to you, and then it shows up as a discount on the invoice to account for that additional product. So it's not a discount per se, it's a larger show for a smaller price, which is not a discount, but it feels like a discount. So essentially, if we were to add the extra year, it would be an additional 5% of product, which is calculated before the shooter fee, the insurance fee, and the shipping costs. So rather than being 10% on top of 10,000, which is easy math, it's 10% on top of $7,500-ish, which is a little bit more complicated, but it still ends up, if we extended it, it would add $1,260 worth of fireworks to the show for the same price. If we don't extend, it will only add about $1,000 to the product for the show. Ultimately, it makes no difference. The benefit of signing the contract early or paying early just adds more basically density to the show. One of the things about our show that people like is that it's not firework, wait, firework, wait, it's fireworks, 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 fireworks for 15 minutes.
Is that what the $260 additional gets us? The $1,260 to the $1,000?
It gets us fireworks, 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 and then fireworks, and that's it. So,
In another year contract.
Interesting representation. We all got it.
Everybody got it.
We all got it.
The extension of the contract is, I mean, it's, you know, it's, chances are that amount of product that would be added, the public would not know that we've added another year to our contract for the extra bang for the buck, credit where credit's due. They would not likely notice it, in that it's not gonna lengthen the show by a significantly measurable amount of time. It's just, do we want the extra product or not? And I mean, that's your guys' decision. And you know, I understand, like, if we just keep extending a contract, it prevents us from bidding out a new contract, which may be problematic. The last time I bid this show out, there were 3 bids that came in. One of them was a significantly smaller show because they included shipping from New Jersey, which is more expensive than shipping from Lebanon. And another company that sent their package in, and it was just a price. It was no description of the actual product. It was just a price tag. It was like, we'll do your show for this amount. I'm happy to wait out and not include that 5% that comes with the contract extension and rebid it. And we've got a few more years on it, so it's not a pressing issue. So.
And on the, wasn't it paying it early as well?
Yeah, so if we pay the bill by January 15th, it's an extra 12.5% above what the extra 12.5% of product, so,
One more caboose.
yeah.
Everybody's on the bus.
Yeah,
We'll review you out of order and have you escorted out.
it'll,
You wouldn't dare.
No, probably not.
Jamie, you hear that?
it's essentially about $1,000 more product. If we don't extend the contract, it's about $1,400 more product. If we do extend the contract, it's $1,400 more product. If we don't extend the contract, it's 900 and some change more product. So,
How much more product for paying early?
so that would be 12.5%. Would be about $900 worth of product
On top of the extension product?
on top of the extension product. So,
You get 900 extra if you pay it early.
Yep,
If you extend the
1,200,
contract, you get a total of 1,200.
yeah, total of 1,200. So, yeah, so it's an extra $380 worth of product or something like that on top of.
Not in addition.
Not in addition. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. It moves it from 12.5% to 17.5%, 17.5%.
Which is the due date is January the 15th, we'd be in a 2026 budget.
That would be
year.
2026 budget year.
Can we get a yay or a nay or a motion?
Make a motion to approve the ordinance as read.
I have a first.
Second.
I have a second. Alder Villiers.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keane.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
No.
Alder Matheson.
No.
Alder Wilson.
Yes.
The motion is passed. Thank you. An ordinance of,
9W.
yes, an ordinance adopting the annual budget for the city of Willard, Missouri for the year.
We have to do a second.
You were doing a second reading.
Are we gonna do a second?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Thank you very much for
First
reminding
and
me.
second.
All right, I will wait then. If there's a second.
I'll make a motion. Oh, do we need to read it again?
Oh, yes. An ordinance of the Board of Alders, well, do we need a motion to do a second read? Do we need a motion to
If
ordinance?
that was the first one, then we need a motion to do a second read.
I'll make a motion that we do a second read tonight.
Okay. I have a first
Second.
and I have a second. Alder Villiers,
Yes.
Alder Hill,
Yes.
Alder Keane,
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
No.
Alder Matheson,
No.
Alder Wilson.
Yes.
All right, that motion passes, so I will read this a second time. An ordinance of the Board of Alders of the City of Willard, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to extend the agreement with Premier Pyrotechnics. This will be a second read.
I'll make a motion that we approve the ordinance as read.
I have a first,
Second.
I have a second. Alder Villiers,
Yes.
Alder Hill,
Yes.
Alder Keane,
Yes.
Alder Lancaster,
No.
Alder Matheson,
No.
Alder Wilson.
Yes.
The second read passes, the ordinance passes. Thank you very much. Now, an ordinance adopting the annual budget for the city of Willard, Missouri for the year 2026. First and second read are possible.
Wait, where,
Sorry?
which one do you?
I went to 9F after the pyrotechnics. It was
Okay.
9E.
I'm with you now.
Okay.
Okay, so we've been working on the 2026 budget. It is not very pretty. We found out that revenues have been previously overstated. For example, water and sewer for the certified budget given to the auditor at the beginning of the year was $8,542,000. Our proposed 26 budget is $4,696,000. This is mainly because of grants and big projects that we thought were gonna get done in 2025, that was put in as revenue, even though they weren't revenue. We have been very, very conservative on this budget. We took what we have for 2025, the amended numbers for 2025, and instead of using the percentage approach to say we're gonna get 2% more income or whatever, we kind of went realistically with the economy and everything that's up in the air. We didn't put too much stock in getting way more revenue. Our minimum wage is going up by $1.25 January 1st, which affects salaries. The law department has a $3.64 raise coming because we raised the starting wage for all police officers. Even though we're on a hiring freeze, the cops we have are going up the $3.64 as well.
So when you say law department, you mean law enforcement, not
Yes.
law?
Law enforcement.
Okay.
Yeah, she's not paid off.
I was gonna hit Holly for once, I never get it ever, she just hits me.
I already asked if we could hire her personally, just keep her here, but I was told she made
She
too
probably
much
makes way
for
too
our
much.
budget, so. This budget does have merit raises built in, which is 3% is what we're kind of guessing the high. Previously, it's been 2%, just straight on the board, 2% for everybody. The software is on here. I have also attached that to the budget. We did get the price lowered, and the only cost that will come out of 2026 is the $69,000. 2027 is when we'd have to worry about the rest of it. And part of that rest of it is the actual yearly cost and then training. And I also put a payment schedule on there so you would know when about we would have to pay those payments. I'm kind of pushing for it because I don't like Tyler and the software is just horrible to work with. But I understand it's $60,000 and if we could save it, we could save it. Also built into this budget is an audit for $112,000 instead of $6,000 as normal. I think that's all the big ticket items I could think of that I was working on. If you guys have any comments or questions, I'll try to answer them. Like I said, in 2 weeks, I've been tearing this budget apart. Me and Wes went through and stripped it as much as humanly possible. In fact, these guys are probably not very happy with it, so it will be rough, but we think we can make it through. We are using our reserves, and we do realize that, but we do need meadows done, and we do need things done.
You said that 112 for a budget, or for an audit?
Yeah, we still don't know when that bill is coming in.
So doesn't that just carry forward?
I've got a few clarifications. It sort of does, but you still have a budget for it. So it's
Okay.
kind of a semi-surplus for this year, though it's not. But we rebudget, reallocate to
Gotcha,
next
I
year.
just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, we still have to have the funds stored.
I didn't think that we had that finalized and we haven't
Still
gotten
on
a
the
bill
bill.
for it.
We
so-
figured this out like we did.
So we didn't lose 600,000 this year, because that 100,000 moves.
It's still sitting, so
Still
it,
It moved, so
we
instead of
lost 500.
518,000 at this point.
On that one, the revenue that was budgeted for this year was around 3.6, just a little over 3.6. It was very clear a few months back that we weren't likely to hit that, maybe we might hit 3. So that's 600,000 right there. We were unable to determine what assumptions were put into that, so that's why we downtracked. We anticipated revenue to 2.8. I think it will come in a little higher than that, but we wanted to be realistic, and we've kind of carried that revenue projection over into next year. I've been the voice of doom and gloom. The economy looks like it's got a good chance of stalling out. It usually doesn't stall out for long. especially if it's just an adjustment instead of a correction. So we've kind of baked that in here. Of course, there was the additional sales tax revenue source that was passed for law enforcement, but we haven't gone ham with it. We've kind of kept that flat as well. So the largest salary bump is going to be law enforcement. The 364 ladders them up for the area average rate, which is $24.49. And then we've laddered kind of staff as we do to prevent wage compression. Everything else was fairly static. I also wanted to add clarification on the merit. We passed the merit instead of the step. The maximum will be 3% for a role model, graded 5. And then we work down from there. Somebody who's rated unsatisfactory would not qualify for a raise. So your lowest would be 1%, your highest would be 3%. We would establish that structure within that. The board can obviously direct us not to do the merit next year as part of the budget calculations, adjust the percentages or change the way we're doing it. What I do generally find is if we do at least adjust for the minimum wage, we likely should ladder for that. We are building a motivated workforce. They have investment in the city. We're growing the city and pushing hard, and they do a lot of stuff outside of their job descriptions to keep us going. So the last thing I want to do is to demoralize or demotivate any member of our workforce, except those that maybe aren't contributing, in which case there's a whole different process with that. As a city, we have implemented a hiring freeze. We did go through that with staff some time back, and they've been recently notified that that will continue through at least June. We also plan to do a functional spending freeze, which will continue through June. So even if we approve certain spendings in here, if it's not routine, it's not happening until June. Most of the motivation for that is to make sure the economy is not doom and gloom like I think it is. It gives us a bit of time to see how that's going to pan out. We did also remove the roads from this to bring that revenue transfer down. We figured that might be a conversation best had later. Obviously, we know the roads need it, but doing it as part of the budget seemed like not the greatest time, and then making part of a functional spending freeze seemed the best way to handle it. So we just took that up earlier this morning just to remove it for a later date. But we think this represents the best stab. We've got water and sewer in there. Hopefully that will proceed. It looks like it's going to proceed with the 94 upgrades, hopefully the Meadows upgrades. So those are baked in there. That capital improvement fund, we separated out of revenue to be more clear about what that was. So Gina's done a good job about kind of tying everything together, finding what was going on, and putting it in a way that I think is more transparent. It's less detailed. She can go into the details, but we feel like this is maybe the best way to look at it holistically and overall. I know you guys probably noticing this one as well. What we did is we've removed the transfer from general to reduce this number a little bit and be more realistic about this number at the bottom for discussion purposes. One thing we do have planned next year, which doesn't really help us right now, but we want to go to a zero-based budgeting approach next year, which will have to start pretty quick because it's pretty detailed. Stripping everything down to the base, looking at everything, every line of spending. Do we need this? Do we need that? What is this? What is that? What is in this number? And really get into the nitty-gritty of it. And then what I would propose is once we get some progress on that, maybe about May, June, we have a board meeting work study and get your priorities and then move it towards a priority-based budget approach, which we can bake into 2026. So if it's not a priority, it gets budgeted accordingly. I think that will be hugely instrumental. I don't know when the last time it was done. It's never been done. So why not now? We see there's a problem on the horizon. Let's hit it. But I do want to kind of highlight on the revenues a little bit. I would hope they'll be a little bit higher, but we've been very cautious with that. Because obviously we face our expenses.
Way higher before we started stripping.
And that's a good point too. Yeah, it started out at 1.7 in the previous method. It dropped to 1.1 and dropped to 797. We got it down even on the first stab. It was considerably lower. So it's not great. We don't want to take from our savings account. It can only last so long to do that before we're really looking at austerity measures. But we are making good progress as a city. I think we're being seen, we're being noticed. That's why it was hard for me to say, well, let's just take the roads out for now, because stuff like roads really gets you on the notice list when people are coming around checking out your community. But It just seems like not the right time for some of this stuff. That was kind of my additional 2 cents, if you will. But I appreciate Gina. She's had a lot going on. I also appreciate Joyce. She's been helping play quarterback for us as we've gone through the numbers and tried to figure stuff out. So it's been a lot of work in a very short amount of time. But we think we're in a good spot for presenting this today.
And I will just say,
Cool.
this is in no way at all intended to demoralize anyone. It's all about numbers. That's the approach that I do my budget. From 23 to 26, we have gone up 1.25 million in payroll. I personally, and again, it is not to take away from any employee. I think Wes is worth every dime. But with every employee receiving a minimum wage differential, that's every employee gets $2,600 before merit raise. And again, Wes is, Gina, I mean, everybody is worth, but at some point, we have to, again, follow the state of Missouri. We have to become fiscally responsible. And to continue to grow payroll the way that, I did look, at least next year, it potentially is based on CPI, so potentially it would only be a 2.3% differential, but continuing to raise your hourly all the way to the top salary, it is irresponsible financially, in my opinion. Again, I think that they work hard, they do a great job. I cannot say enough about how grateful I am that Wes is here. Again, I think he's kind of turned some things, but I think that's something that needs to be looked at, is we have had a payroll increase of 1.25 since 23. And that's with some attrition. I don't even know the description of the term, to cut streets as the first option. We just paid how much money to have a street study done, and that's gonna be the first thing that we pull. That causes me a little bit of emotion. I have heard complaints about how much time it takes to mow everything we have. Can we sell some land? Is that an option? I mean, we just keep digging, and I mean, we're raising the thing that we can't cut back. And again, I don't want to cut payroll.
Once you give it, you
I
can't take it away.
I am like, the zero-based budget needs to start now. And I know that that is near impossible, but I'm like, count paper clips, cut Amazon orders stop. I mean, we see that every month in our budgets. It's all accounted for. I mean, Casey and I do not like the tablets. We're saving paper. I'm wearing my jacket tonight because I wouldn't want Wes to turn the heat up, because I'm going to tighten my belt as well. Again, I know that you cannot necessarily always approach a municipal budget the way you do your personal budget, but it just seems that we are not going in a very good, and again, we're not all doom and gloom. Again, Wes has pulled some things in and has made some great changes. I'll just share a little bit of story and hope that this person doesn't watch this. I knew somebody that took their car to get it fixed. They couldn't afford to get it fixed, so they drove home a new vehicle. That's what I feel about this budget.
It's cheaper to make a payment.
It was cheaper to make a payment than to get it fixed, but we just keep kicking that. Now the first thing that we're gonna pull is streets. I have an issue with that, so.
For clarity, it wasn't pulled just as a get rid of it. I think that warrants a lot more discussion.
It
Because once
does.
we start going down that path, really we have to make a plan and stick to it. Kind of like we were talking about with the infrastructure. And once we start going down the route of raising rates, we've got to kind of keep up with it and make sure we keep up with the infrastructure. Roads is no different. Once we kick that in, really, we're talking about at least a 6-year plan. So we had to commit to it.
And we increased parks by $350,000. I mean, is that not the road budget?
Yeah.
Much less than the road
Yeah,
budget.
I mean, the transfers would definitely be helpful. We used to do a lot of damage in Kansas with just 200,000 on the roads. So you can-
But I mean,
you
that's
can-
what
you
you're
can pick
showing
up
me in
the level.
25 is we were 171,000 negative for parks, and we're gonna jump to 423 in screw streets.
Again, remember with the previous budgets, we've included the transfers in that. We've removed it on the 2026 to be transparent about those numbers. It's actually a
And the
raw
proposed
number.
2026 does have less salaries because we have cut back seasonal a lot. And spoke to Jason and had a heart-to-heart this morning, and he's not happy about it, but we're gonna try to make it work.
I thought we cut seasonal this last year. I didn't even necessarily compare, the salaries there, because I thought we cut him this year in
We
seasonal.
cut them some, but
I've heard that we cut it greatly to the point where it's painful for parks.
Well, the question that I asked this morning was, what's the value of a life worth? Because if we cut staffing at the pool, it's a limited amount of time before there is a fatal drowning. It is a fact of life. It will happen. Hopefully it won't be this year, hopefully it won't be 2027, hopefully it won't be while I'm here, but if we scale back, we've scaled back in the areas of building maintenance and mowing maintenance and groundscaping and landscaping, we've scaled back those areas. That leaves our program areas, and an adult program, it needs no supervision. If you're an adult, you make your own choices. If it's the children, camp ratios and swimming pool, those areas are areas where we start looking at reducing the amount of service hours to reduce the amount of staff to maintain those numbers. And I think then we're cutting off our nose to spite our face. We reduce our service hours, we have less enrollment, we have less participation, we lose that additional revenue. We've saved that money on the seasonal side, but we're also not making that money back on the service side. I am an employee of the city. I am an employee of the board. So I will follow instructions. But I really feel like beyond just the prideful wanting to hoard over parks and protect it as my own personal baby, if you will, I really think that we're reaching a crucial point where the board needs to decide what services the Parks Department offers and what families they want to exclude from the services, because that's where we are. If we decide we don't want to offer sports, that we want to send those sports registrations to Republic or Springfield and send any, tangential spending that goes with those sports programs. Like we've had 280 some kids for soccer at $50 a kid. That's, we'll send that to another town. We also lose the McDonald's stops on the way home from soccer practice. That, I will follow the instructions. I also will just state that we're giving away a thing that's going to be very hard to get back. Like you said, if we outsource sports, we outsource our community's youth to another community to do those community building events, that's going to be hard to get back. You're going to lose the generation of kids that we're playing now. You're going to lose the siblings of the kids that are playing now. And then when those kids have kids, they're going to go yeah, I had a great time playing soccer at Willard, but they canceled the program. So we're going to stay at Republic. We're going to stay in Springfield.
All right, let me ask the board this. Since we're now operating under a different set of assumptions, do we want to have another work study now that we are on a new plane, so to speak, and have another work study and deal with a new reality. Because if we are operating under different assumptions, and things are looking worse than what we had anticipated, then we probably need to meet again and decide what we're gonna slash and burn. Yes?
I would agree with that.
I think it needs to be studied again or continued and just.
And we have to file a budget at the beginning of the year with the state. So we're gonna have, I mean, we have Christmas, so
Let's
we're
do
gonna
it.
have something on
Christmas
paper.
morning here.
Yeah, we're gonna have something on paper by the beginning
Don't
of the
go
year.
marshmallows.
and bring your coffee.
I'll bring everyone presents.
Well, and I mean, unfortunately, and I think that we had strived to get budget done earlier, that was, I think, the goal. And unfortunately, we didn't get there from here just yet. And I mean, again, I apologize, I think you've done great work, you and Wes both. But I just can't, I mean, we can vote for it tonight, but I'm gonna tell you right now, my vote's no.
Yeah, let's meet again, because it sounds to me like we need to have more discussions. So, Wes, you wanna set up another meeting between?
Do it. Yep.
What would be our absolute last day that we could have a meeting and still meet our statutory requirements?
Last day of the month, I think.
You can go into the new year, it's just that your current budget then stays into the new year. It's just a bad practice, but you can do it on December 31st.
It's the 8th,
When's our next meeting?
but next week,
12:22.
next week too early to have a discussion? Some evening next week or the week after? Everybody be around, not going out of town, and
You do have your next meeting on the 22nd, it would be best to have the discussion.
Let's do it before then.
Changes
Yeah, let's do
before
it
the
before then.
22nd.
all right, let's get it set up.
Okay.
All right, deal.
So then do we need to make a motion to?
Table it.
To table
Yeah, I think
or
it's just-
postpone? Okay, so we need to make a motion to postpone, the ordinance for the annual budget for the year 2026.
I second that.
All right, I have a first and a second to postpone this, any decision on this ordinance. Alder Billiard,
Yes.
Alder Hill,
Yes.
Alder King,
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Alder Wilson.
Yes.
That motion passes to postpone this agenda item. And an ordinance of the Board of Alders of the City of Willard, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Young's General Contracting for the 94 lift station upgrade and enforcement replacement. First and second reading.
The ordinance before you authorizes the mayor to enter into agreement with Young General Contracting. They were the low bidder on the 94 lift station enforcement project. They have all their bonds and insurance certificates in place. We have achieved short-term bank financing from Lebanon Bank in Buffalo to carry us for a period of time. And of course, we have a funding grant from USAPA.
Guys, thank you for coming.
Talk to you guys.
Thank you very much.
Merry Christmas.
Sorry, Steve.
No problem. So the ordinance basically authorizes Troy to sign the agreement and execute on behalf of the City of Willard the irrevocable directive to withdraw proceeds and the notice to proceed with the project. Any questions we'd like to ask?
I'm gonna have to meet these guys sometimes. I'm entering into an awful lot of agreements with them. I'm thinking maybe they should take me to lunch or something.
We'll invite you to draw, we'll
Just
let you
kidding.
know when the pre-construction meeting is.
I'm sorry.
We'll let you know when the pre-construction meeting is.
All right.
You're giving me more people than you want to.
You need a motion.
Yeah.
Make a motion that we approve the ordinance as read.
Second.
I have a first and a second. For first read, Alder Billiard,
Yes.
Alder Hill,
Yes.
Alder Keen,
Yes.
Alder Lancaster,
Yes.
Alder Matheson,
Yes.
Alder Wilson.
Yes.
For the first read passes.
I make a motion that we go ahead and do a second read tonight.
I have a first and a second to do the second read tonight. Alder Billiard,
Yes.
Alder Hill,
Yes.
Alder Keen,
Yes.
Alder Lancaster,
Yes.
Alder Matheson,
Yes.
Alder Wilson.
Yes.
An ordinance of the Board of Alders of the City of Willard, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Young's General Contracting for the 90-foot lift station upgrade and floor stand replacement. Second.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance as read.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Billiard.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keen.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Alder Wilson. This ordinance passes.
All right, Wes, did you already make your remarks, or do you have more?
You know, I always feel it's best to have some in reserve, just in case.
Just held a little bit back.
I always hold a little bit back, but
All right.
somebody said under promise and over deliver.
Thank you, Sam.
Good seeing you guys.
We had a significant line break on 94 over the weekend. Of course, we're replacing this soon, but it does indicate the surprise failures we can anticipate when we have a lot of investment in the system. Trevor and his team work pretty hard, getting all tidied up so we can get in trouble. We've made some changes to the website. I kind of alluded that I was going to start doing this next year, but I got a little ahead of myself, so.
Can I interrupt you real quick?
Yeah.
Wes? Marilyn, do you need any phone numbers, or do you have the internet?
No, I have the internet, thank you.
Great, thank you, okay. Sorry, Wes.
No, it's okay. So I went ahead and I've updated the police department page. We started collapsing down menus. It was unwieldy before. The police department's kind of got the newer look and then links in there. So if you're curious about police department things, you can go to police department. So you'll start seeing some changes. We'll work on that more in this next year. Jackson Street sidewalk was completed ahead of the deadline, so the contractor qualified for that incentive payment that the board had approved. It was completed before 12/1, so that would have been a full incentive payment of $10,000. I wanted to make a remark on the East Center. Obviously, I'm aware of the issues out there. It's one of those areas that we can't really intervene. It's private on private. We don't have any say in that. However, I have scheduled a meeting with the affected people. That'll be sometime this week on Wednesday, so I'm going to talk with them. We're hoping to line them up with some developers and maybe give them some alternative options if they feel the rate is too high where they're at. On the budget, as I kind of covered that, but we'll start that process pretty quickly next year. Other news, this is something a good discovery. Another city in Missouri found themselves kind of where we're at with the median household income and the alumni percentages being a little skewed, seeming to be a little unrealistic. They found a way to figure it out and get it fixed. So I've reached out to them. They've given me some tips. I've already reached out to people who helped them, and we'll see. It cost them $1,500, and they did a little work. So we'll see if we can get us like that. So we'll work on that. That'll give us another aspect for maybe pursuing funding for things. One thing Steve did need was maybe a consensus on the 103, 106 cut versus bore. I was originally kind of leaning toward bore just with simplicity. When you look at the cost and then you look at the numbers that we're looking at for next year, we have plenty of time. It's not like the contractors are just going to show up one day and cut the intersection out. So it gives us plenty of time to reach out to the schools, post office, police departments, neighborhoods, put something in the bills, put something on the website, and really try to let them know that June, for example, is the date that for 2 weeks you can anticipate that junction being out. There are several other alternative routes to get to the school down there, which is, I think, the majority of traffic that you're going to see down 106. So my recommendation is probably to go ahead and just do the inconvenient route.
Yeah. Or what you say, Trevor, 160,000?
140.
140,000, that's a small inconvenience today, considering our economic.
How long has Scenic been out at Sunshine? That's a huge inconvenience.
Since
I
July.
think we can handle it.
And the board does not
It'll save a
prevent
good
you
amount of
from
money.
having to cut. There are times when people have bored and had to cut.
Mm,
It didn't work.
True. Yeah, it'll save about 12,000 to 15,000 on
At
the
this
borrow.
point, it looks like we're gonna need to save every penny that we can.
Okay, so we will go the cut route. Oh yeah, and then just a reminder, I've mentioned before, but another reminder so we all know what's going on. This will be the last month that you'll receive a monthly department report. Next year we go to the quarterly, so the first quarterly report from the department heads will be in the last minute of March.
You're gonna have to speak up, that thing's loud. It is very loud.
I'm gonna have to work on this.
Project, Wes.
Project. I always feel like I'm shouting. I was telling my wife I have like quiet and then loud, and I feel like when I get loud, everything's gonna be
I can hear you over the speaker now that you're talking.
Hey, there you go. So this will be the last month for the monthly department head reports. Next year we'll go to the quarterly where it'll be a presentation structure, so the department head will come, talk to the board, kind of let you know what's going on, good, bad, ugly, indifferent. You can ask some questions, kind of help chart the direction a little bit, and then we'll do that. So your first one will be in March, and then second meeting of the last month of the quarter thereafter. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but there you go.
And as a side note, I would, and I know that I've talked to some of you about this, everyone's welcome to come to the Monday morning 0900 meeting, because that's where Trevor usually teaches me about sewer and parachutes and sewage lines and.
Teachers
Except you
so,
can't
they're
be-
so rude.
I was gonna say, yeah. Yeah, if you come in and
We'll divvy it up so that we stay within the quorum
if you're the
rules.
fourth person coming in the door, turn right around.
But yeah, we can learn about bailing, and today I learned about how sunshine affects pipes. I didn't know that
Yeah.
sunlight affects sewage pipes and can degrade them. I
That's
didn't.
why they're underground.
But apparently by the time you get them from the trailer to the ground, if they're out in the sun degrades them.
If you drop them, they can get microfractures. If you leave them in the sun for too long, they can just break down. And then if you drop them and leave them in the sun for a while, you get real ones.
So,
yeah, I
encourage you all to go.
Every Monday at 9 a.m.
Every Monday, 0900, unless there's a short week, but Wes can put something out.
Generally, I try to have them even if it's, nothing much to say. We usually find plenty to say, they don't want, especially
I was
mine.
gonna say, we've been going long
Anything
lately.
and everything.
I'm gonna be taking some time off, so the meeting's gonna be really short.
Yeah, no, we usually about an hour unless we've got a lot going on. Even on the short weeks, I try to have one. But yeah, I can just email you guys if we cancel, otherwise just plan on it happening. That's all I really have. Well, actually, I do have one wild notion. I was gonna save it, but I'll just bounce it off you guys and see if you frown at me. There was a comment that came up in the joint work study that I kind of latched onto, and it seemed like a good idea. Just tell me what you think. The comment went along the lines of seeing how the rate impact might change with different project levels. So sometime next year, I'm thinking it might be nice, we're talking work studies, maybe have a work study, look at all the projects, try to get all those costs updated, and then try to chart the impact on the rate if we take, this many projects, ratchet it down, and bring the public in, get their input, get their thoughts, and see where that line of comfort is so we can get the maximum amount of projects done, especially if we go the COP route where we can kind of move a bit more nimbly than move the bond. So just throwing it out there, random, crazy, early morning thought that I think might be a good thing. Get some input, if people will show up and give input.
FYI, he has those morning thoughts all the time. Sometimes you gotta tell him, no,
It's breakfast time.
Yeah, he comes to me daily. So I had a morning thought. I'm like, okay, God.
Let it with.
Be prepared.
That is it. That is now officially it.
Final one. All right, anything under new business, anybody? No new business, anything under unfinished business?
Yeah, let me bring up one thing. Of course, my hearing aids don't pick up everything. The board by consent agreed to forego the boring of the intersection.
Yes, sir.
What I'd like to have is consent of the board to approach Piper Sanders for a $4 million COP that would be used to pay off of $2.1 million short-term financing from O'Bannon Bank.
That's for the 94.
And, pardon?
For the 94.
The 94, and finish the Memphis project. The cash flow projection, Wes has a copy of it. That COP is gonna be required about the 1st of April. And the amount of money we're looking at is $4 million. And the annual debt service on that will be about $320,000 a year, over 20 years. So we got general consensus, I'll reach out to 5%ers.
You can't do a general consensus, you can bring it up for a discussion at a future meeting, but because it's just under unfinished business, you're just proposing a thought, and you can't get them to do business on it.
Let's just,
Can we what?
They cannot transact any business on
No.
something.
I'm
A
just giving you-
consensus is transacting, they're authorizing you to go forward.
Okay, what I'm looking for here is the attitude of the board to put it in very crass terms. Are you in a position to assume a $4 million 20-year debt to pay off the meadows, or pay off the 94 and finish the meadows?
I think that's baked into the budget, so we might leave the budget discussions to continue. I think Gina's already baked that number into the budget.
Yeah, she ought to look at their numbers up there, unless you got a surprise somewhere it fits.
Yeah, yeah. So I would see how the board's discussion goes on the budget discussion, soon next week, and then we can visit, and I can let you know what their thought was on that piece.
Okay, very
But I
good.
would say generally that
Okay.
the direction is probably
No,
something
not
that.
intended to transact any business, only to reach out and
Yeah.
get pro forma from.
I would reach out
Let's
and
get
get,
the
I would reach out and get the numbers concrete so that can be part of the budget discussion.
Yes, that's what he's wanting to do.
Yep. Yep.
Very good.
all right, nothing else on unfinished. We get a motion to recess the open.
I will make a motion that we recess the open session and open the closed session pursuant to RSMO section 610.021, subsection 1 legal, and subsection 3 personnel. Personnel.
I have a first and a second. Alder Wheeler.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder King.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson. Yes. Alder Wilson.
Yes.
All right, we will recess open session to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nay? All right, meeting is adjourned.